Guys, the issue isn't spending. It's talent evaluation. Mo and Pinocchio have not put the chips behind the right horses, to bastard James Hahn.
Well, I think that when you're talking about when you're talking about pitching, knowing where the Cardinals are at, it's got to be a spending issue because you clearly don't have it in house. So I mean, the only way to fix that is to go out and get it.
Trade. You can also trade.
Oh, you're going to be able to trade for trading for
here's
an upside guy?
You really think they're going to go out and sign two frontline free?
Of course I do.
I don't.
No.
But they have enough trade chips where you, if you're smart about it, you're going to have to give up someone that everyone likes. Right? There's going to be a player that there's a risk involved.
Wait a minute.
They're not going to give you.
Bauer.
They're not going to trade. They're not going to trade. You're not going to get a frontline pitcher for Tyler O'Neill. You're not.
No. Trevor Bauer.
Trevor Bauer. I don't. To be honest,
I mean, that's.
Would I do it? I'd have to see what the other options are first, because I'd rather not go there because it could be a circus.
Well, are you proposing that we trade somebody that could impact bobblehead night? Because if that's the case, we got to really evaluate that.
What do you mean?
If we've already got the promos together for this year, we can't, get rid of. What would we do without Dylan Carlson blanket night?
Yeah.
We got to take care of that.
There are guys that I'm pretty sure aren't going to be around, but there are also guys. I think you look. I think if you read the room, you can figure. All right, this guy probably is on the. Those guys aren't going to be enough to get you a starting pitcher. It's going to be someone that everybody likes or everyone thinks is a really good player, because to get some, you have to give up something. And I don't think fans sometimes realize that.
Let me ask you, over under 5.5 new major league players on this roster next year.
Oh.
Guys that played other places that have been brought in on the 25 man.
5.5?
Over under 5.5 next year.
That's a lot.
Under.
Wait, give me the whole thing again.
So over under, will the Cardinals this offseason bring in 5.5 guys who are going to be on the 25 man for 26? I'm sorry, for next year.
I'd say
Factoring in
it's close. I think that's a good line to set, because I would say just under that.
Might be a money making line. 5.5.
Yeah.
4 or 5.
The Mariners are the only team never to play in a World Series. Oh, yeah. When did they come into the league?
68, I think.
God.
That was the Pilots who moved to Milwaukee.
Oh, they got to be.
Oh, that gets confusing. That's right.
Oh, really?
They started and then they went somewhere. Listen,
It's been a long time.
but that's a team.
Wow.
Like when you
70, probably.
Still,
Ken Griffey Jr., A-Rod, Ichiro,
You had
Jake
guys.
Buhner, Randy Johnson. I mean, that was
John
a team.
Olerud, Mike Cameron.
Edgar Martinez. How'd I go that
They
long
never
without
been
him?
to the Worlds. Never even been there. Whoa.
How many ALCSs have they
Whoa.
been to? I mean,
Let's find out.
one maybe?
Thank you for mentioning Jay Buhner, by the way.
He's important.
1977. Final answer.
77?
Yep.
That Brewers Pilots thing threw me off. I don't know. But no, 5.5. It would stun me if there were 6 guys on this roster that were playing on other major league teams that were up with this team when it started. But maybe it's not about bulk. I mean, I think that the point is that we know the team, there's guys that were on this roster, they've got to play better next year, period. But I think that the strategy has got to go into higher ticket guys that can come in and make an impact. Not a bunch of folks you can lay around and say we're going to get better in all these places. Some guys just got to be better, and you got to get better where you hadn't spent money at, and I think that's the rotation.
Sonny Gray is a guy who I think seems to be a guy who is just destined to pitch for the Cardinals. Don't you think? I mean, doesn't that seem like that's
Sonny, great.
That's fine.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
He's a frontline pitcher.
The thing that I like about him is that he's been good everywhere he's gone except for New York. But he was good in Oakland,
something to that.
good in Cincinnati, good in Minnesota, so his talent travels.
What's Sonny, 32 now?
My concern is his age. Isn't he like 34?
No, I don't.
Well, we could look that up. I also like
He's an old like that.
Yamamoto, the pitcher from Japan, who's going to come at a cost, but he's younger. But you need 2 guys. I like those 2. If they added those 2, picked up another reliever, maybe another bat to throw in the mix, I think they'd be much better.
That's where that 5.5 gets tricky to me, is if you go out and you say, all right, let's not forget about the bullpen, because, by the way, let's not forget about the bullpen.
Thank you.
Because there's things that need to get done there, too.
Let's talk
trickle
about
over.
that. Let's talk, because I think it's fun to talk about. Now it's that time of year where the hot stove is upon us. So to me,
Hot stove, Christmas trees.
I'm pretty happy with Helsley as the closer. I also think, and maybe I'm wrong, but this could be my rose-colored rights holder glasses, I like JoJo. I'm happy with those two guys at the end of the bullpen. I want another guy brought in, a leverage guy who has some saves on his resume.
Another Giovanni Gallegos.
Except I don't like Gio pitching the ninth.
Well, I mean, a purpose guy like that, though, that you can move around and can do different things.
Who's done it. I also like guys who have a resume of playing in big games, like postseason. Okay, and those guys are out there.
Well,
so you then you have those three at the end of games. Gio is sort of that cusp for leverage situation. I don't like Gio. Maybe it's my own bias. I don't like him in the ninth because I just have memories of bad things. Okay, so if you get another guy, you have those leverage guys, then you pick up another arm. Because I do think that there are guys that they have who, to me, like Zach Thompson again. So if I'm wrong again, I was wrong about him last year. But I think he's a guy that is a big piece of the bullpen.
I'd prefer him to be there, though. Let's do some other things in the rotation. Let's get Zach, even though he wasn't terrible down the stretch there.
No, he was pretty good.
But I'd like him in the pen.
I like him in the pen. I don't want to see him in the rotation because if he's in the rotation, that means they didn't get starting pitching.
Something didn't happen right. I mean, of course, this is the year for Jake Woodford. Of course, it's time, right? That's we're gonna keep that going. Who's the Jake Woodford's hit that interesting spot where it's like, oh yeah, he's there too. Like forget about a guy, and it's like, all right, cool, why not?
Fat Tony chimes in and goes, is it talent evaluation or is it talent development? Case in point, this year's team totally underperformed. I know they didn't have pitching, but on paper, they had the lineup, and the lineup didn't hit.
I'm going to say that for me, when you look up and down this lineup, I mean, they found some guys that are doing more than maybe you planned on them to. I mean, I think Brendan Donovan is a guy like that. Lars is definitely a guy like that. But then, Tommy for sure. But then you've got guys sprinkled in that you paid to perform. I mean, Arenado, Contreras, Goldschmidt, etc. The issue for me isn't the lineup. I think that this lineup did underperform, but I think that it can perform. I expect Jordan Walker to get better. I think if you can keep Donovan, that's a different season down the stretch. But I just can't look at Miles, Matz, Dakota, Liberatore, and Zach Thompson and say,
but Liberatore,
let's go.
Out of the bullpen, was a different guy.
Yeah.
And that's why I think he's a really important bullpen piece if it shakes out that way. There's a guy with an outstanding curveball who can get you 96, 97 miles an hour, but we saw him throwing 92 miles an hour because he was trying to be a starter. He was different out of the bullpen. He was nasty.
If you take three lefties in the pen that are JoJo, Liberatore, and Thompson, I'm not mad at that because I still think there's upside to realize in Liberatore. But no matter what, I mean, Miles can't be on the hump on opening day. Nothing against him. He's been a good soldier. He's went out there and worked a lot of innings, but he can't be the guy that's taking the ball on day one. Otherwise, you've completely failed this offseason.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I mean, they need pitching.
Yes.
And they need front of the rotation pitching. Like I said, they said three.
Knocked off a little bit.
Two. If they get two legitimately frontline guys, I think they're in the neighborhood of where they need to be.
Sonny Gray turns 34 on Wednesday.
Oh, wow. That's old, man.
I remember vaguely being 34.
Listen, to me, if I'm the Cardinals, this is, in case of emergency, break glass. Like, they're in that situation now. You cannot have a repeat of last season.
I'm writing that phrase down.
You can't. So, like, listen, they had a bad season. I think you give them a pass on that. Not that it was good or – okay, now it's the time because everyone has had a bad season. So now you look at it and you want to call them cheap chokers or call for people's heads. If it happens again, there were reasons and excuses that were at least legitimate last year. No more. And they know that. Like I'm telling you, Mo knows they better win this year.
They got to do something. I love it when I tune in and Maddie is on. Happy Georgia week. I'm a Maddie Lemming. Miz, baby. M-I-Z. Wombat.
Baby.
Wombat showing some love.
What's up, baby? Let's get it done.
Wombat.
It's a big weekend coming to Columbia. I don't think it's gonna be a sad one. I'll leave it there.
In Columbia?
Yeah. We're going to run the streets this weekend, baby.
Aren't they in Georgia,
Well,
though?
they're there, but everybody's not
Okay.
going down.
Oh, I'm just asking. I'm just asking.
I don't think you're a real fan if you don't.
If you don't go down to Columbia when they're not there and watch it down there.
I was in Lawrence, Kansas last weekend when it got nuts out there.
Lawrence, Kansas.
Really?
Where's that at?
Yeah.
That is
It's in Kansas.
right outside of Kansas City.
Okay, so you're near Kansas City.
Yeah, I
'cause
was in Kansas
I'm thinking
City.
like you're in Lawrence, Kansas, Matty.
I was in Kansas City and we went
Now,
over there.
if he goes to Manhattan, Kansas,
He's
where
going to
Kansas State is, and now he's way out in the middle of
I was
nowhere.
gonna say, like,
Lawrence
he
is
ain't
cool.
going out there.
I've been to Manhattan, Kansas.
Really?
And there ain't nothing.
Ain't nothing.
Really?
Until you get
You're cow tipping.
you pull up on that thing, you're like, oh God, finally. And on the other side of that thing, good luck till you get to Denver.
Oh, there ain't nothing.
I can't.
Even when you get to Colorado, there ain't nothing for another
But
500 miles.
But they ran the streets with the goalpost out there last
Yes, they
weekend
did.
after they
I saw.
took OU down.
Yes, they did. They threw it in the lake.
Yeah, how nice is that? What'd you do in Kansas City?
I had a little meeting over there for
All
like
right.
a couple days. So I knew one of my guys went to Kansas and he was like, hey, let's go over. It's homecoming. I'm like, all right.
All right.
Got a little brisket, you know. Had a nice couple nice burgers.
You got a
ate
beautiful.
barbecue?
That's a beautiful campus.
Couple cocktails.
got-
It is nice.
Beautiful.
Huh? Went past the big Gale Sayers statue. Saw a Wilt
Oh, wow.
Chamberlain thing. I was like, man, they really had some guys come through
Kansas
here.
City's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, Kansas City's good. Had
And
a couple
pretty
of
cool.
burn-in sandwiches over the.
What's nicer
4
about
days
Kansas City than St. Louis?
Not much.
not much, same
particularly.
kind of
The
thing?
barbecue, maybe. Sometimes.
Cat was Danny
Certain
Manning.
things.
Kansas?
Yes.
Yes, he was.
Number 1 pick in the '87 draft, baby.
Yep.
And that basketball
88.
facility is just dripping with history.
Oh, God.
The field house.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I'm no Kansas guy. That's deep behind enemy lines for me, but I can appreciate a good time, though.
Significant day in college basketball today, by the way.
Is this the day that everybody changes teams and you don't know who plays for who?
Bobby Knight.
Yeah, Bob Knight.
Oh, Bobby
passing.
Knight.
Let me tell you a little story about Bobby Knight. Like him or hate him. And I met him once, I think, so it's not about me. But I knew someone that ran a charity. And every year, Bobby Knight would be at their event. Every year. He would committed. This was in
The
Delaware.
RNC?
It was. No, it was a charitable endeavor. But, I mean, that's even. I mean, it was all right, it was like Kids for Cancer or something.
Oh.
Feel good? I mean, you troll, but feel good?
You feel good about
Feel
that?
good?
Cole?
Yes.
It was something like that. And he was there every year. And so a girl I knew was hired to be part of this charitable group, and she was doing the books, and they had all this money unaccounted for, and it was Bobby Knight. They gave Bobby Knight an honorarium check every year, and they called his house, and his wife answered, and this was years ago, and they said, hey, Bobby never cashed any of these checks for the last 6 years.
Oh, really?
And the wife said, yeah, that happens to everything he does. He brings a check, he sticks in his pocket, but he doesn't want us to cash it. He just takes it, but he doesn't want the money. So she said, every time I send his jackets out to get cleaned, there's checks in there. He never took the money for any of the. Isn't that a nice story?
Yeah.
Very nice.
They were just trying to check check where. How come this money's outstanding in our account? Yeah, don't worry about it. He does that all the time.
It's nice.
So we feel free to chirp. Wow, I bet his IRS. Whatever. Telling a nice story about Bobby Knight.
Yeah. although Jim, it's nice to turn down checks like that when you have a lot of money in the bank too. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm cashing those checks.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not comparing him to Gandhi by any stretch. I'm just telling a nice story about a guy who has a legacy and passed on. And it's the only thing I know about him is that he never cashed the charitable checks, and apparently he never did. I'm not saying he wasn't rich. I'm not saying he's the greatest human that ever lived. I'm just trying to throw
I get that.
a little flower on his grave. And apparently on this show that's not allowed.
Hey, so what did he? I know the chairs incident, but like overall, does he have a good reputation?
No.
No.
Okay.
I mean, there was allegations he abused players, choked the kid. There was video of
frowned
that.
upon?
Frowned upon. The greatest clip I ever saw of Bobby Knight, and he was a very good coach and did a lot of good. He's certainly not Gandhi. But the greatest clip I ever saw of him, he's doing a coach's show. And I've hosted those things. After a loss, the coach don't want to do it. He's Bobby Knight at Indiana.
Big dog.
And so the clip is obviously the host asked a well-meaning question, and Bobby Knight's trying to give a politically good answer. Well, yeah, we've given up some points in the paint, whatever he's talking about, and we've been working on it. And he goes, and then he just explodes, and you could see it pained him to even try to put a positive spin, and he ended up yanking off the mic and cursing the show and walking out.
I think I saw that. On
Beautiful.
YouTube.
Did Tyler and Spartanburg call his show?
It was a kid. I think it was. I don't know if it was a host or. I know what you're talking about. This was the one that called
Spartan.
Dabo.
And
I don't know if it was a host that asked this question. Generally speaking, if you have like a big time program, you probably don't want to take phone calls.
Wait,
I know.
Coach's show with Mike Bray?
I did that. Yeah, we didn't take phone. I did one with a coach by the name of Steve Steinwittle, who was the coach in Delaware. I think they made their first NCAA tournament under him. Anyway, they had an issue where the team got into a fight, and a couple kids were suspended in a McDonald's after a game, leaving town, whatever. And so some kids weren't available. I said to the coach before the show, hey, you could say whatever, but I got a hit on this, obviously, so I'm just giving you a heads up.
Yeah.
He said, we're not talking about that. I said, I kind of got to talk about it. Say whatever you want. I'm not going to follow up, but I need your response because it's obviously a story. And he said that I'm not doing the show. And he walked out. I said, Coach, I like you and all. I go, I don't care if you walk out, but you're not going to get a check, and it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
So you should probably do it. And 10 minutes later, he came back in and apologized.
What did he say when you asked him about it?
He said that the behavior was bad, and
You were going to deal with it?
we're dealing with it internally. Okay,
That's
move
all you
on.
have to do.
But he was trying to say we're not going to say it, and everyone was stunned that he walked out. And I was like, we got to, he was just a hothead. But anyone that does a coach's show has dealt with something like that.
Is Bobby Knight the craziest coach going
Ever?
ever?
Probably has got the biggest rep for it. I don't know.
Bobby Knight. Who else? Mount
Jim-
Rushmore crazy coaches.
Jim Rice?
Earl Weaver?
Earl Weaver.
Billy Martin.
Yeah, Billy
Mike
Martin.
Keenan.
Well, yeah. Well,
Now we're talking.
We might be done now.
Mike Keenan.
You remember that Rutgers basketball coach, Jim Rice? Or maybe not Jim Rice wasn't his name. I think that was the Red Sox outfielder. Now that
That was what he did.
Who else is a big, loud, scary coach?
Aaron Boone's trying to get his name
Oh,
in there.
He's a
he drives
Weaver.
me
Mike Ditka?
nuts.
Mike Dick. What about the what's his name?
Ozzie Guillen had a good run there for a little while.
Yeah.
Who's
No.
a guy? He's gigantic, and I can't believe I can't. But he's like, if I'm
Lou Piniella?
gonna cook the dinner, at least have me go get the groceries. Who the football coach? Jets, Giants. Come on,
Rex Ryan?
No, he's got white
Parcells?
Parcells. Bill
Parcells wasn't.
He was
He wasn't
hardcore, wasn't he?
crazy.
He wasn't crazy.
Okay.
He was just.
Not crazy.
He,
I saw
Greg Williams,
Okay.
who was putting hits on guys. and,
Dr. Heat,
yeah.
self-appointed nickname.
No, he was.
Legitimately. He was here for a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
I mean, I'm going off of literally one thing. Hal McRae.
Well, he had a bad moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little drinky poo.
Everyone gets a
Oh,
bad.
no.
Everyone gets a bad moment.
Drinky poo, and he blew up at the reporters, and then he ripped out his phone like one of those old phones. He ripped it out and threw it and hit a reporter in the nose.
Yeah.
The greatest thing is you could see there was a camera, and as the reporters are shell-shocked walking out of his office, one guy had a little blood dripping from his nose.
So I said Buddy Ryan.
How was work today?
Buddy Ryan was
he
crazy.
fought
That's a
guys
good
on
one.
yeah.
He fought the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Does Lou Piniella qualify here?
Well, he got choked out.
Yeah. Well.
Who choked him out?
Oh, man.
Dibble?
Yes.
Dibble.
Yes. I forgot
Dibble
about
choked him
that.
out.
You
Yeah.
ever gone?
Woody Hayes karate chopped an opposing player.
That's what they said right
You
here.
remember that?
Yeah.
He karate chopped the player.
Van Gundy's got to be in there. He runs on the court and gets drug around
Embarrassed.
like a
Babcock.
Shih Tzu.
Alonzo Mourning.
Mike Babcock.
That
How
was
about him.
that was embarrassing.
You should have seen that costume this guy set up of Mike Babcock costume at the Columbus Blue Jackets game. Matt, he was hilarious, dude. He's walking around with a drawing board like, I need to see phones. Give me your phone. To all the fans. It was hilarious.
Tom Izzo's had a few moments. I don't know if it's enough to put him in that category, but he's had a few blow-ups.
Who's the craziest guy you played for? You were just like, oh God.
Oh, probably my AAA coach, Don Morehouse. What's up, Donnie? I love you. Oh, man, I've had a couple crazy ones. Brent Sutter was pretty hardcore. Lou's pretty crazy, man.
Nobody in
like
nobody in life
you know, I don't know.
nobody in life has tamed you as like he did.
Nobody ever in life besides. I mean, sorry, Dad, Mom, love you.
So
Lou took me.
So with me being born in 1999, it took me a while in life to even realize that Bob Knight had coached anywhere other than Texas Tech.
Oh God!
And if you want to paint a picture, but he had an incident at Texas Tech where he was talking to a player in a game, and the player was like looking down at the ground, and they're like face to face, and he's like coaching him in his ear, and he pops his chin up so he can look him in the eyes, like live on camera during the game. And I remember that got played on SportsCenter over and
Just
over
like,
and over again.
look at me when I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, look at me when I'm talking to you.
Did you ever see the video of Woody Hayes chopping a
Probably.
player?
That was like the weirdest punch ever.
He cried chop him?
It's like it's just like a frustrated old dude lashing out.
Yeah, well,
Like it's time to leave if you do that.
when we talk about crazy coaches, I'm gonna leave the guy from Penn State out of the mix. That's a little
That
different.
was a weird
little different.
situation, Matty.
Just on field stuff. I think we're leaving this.
I will say Penn State's got the nicest unis going.
Huh?
I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but anytime I see Penn State, I'm like, yep, those are badass. Penn State football unis.
There's nothing to him.
I
like
know.
that,
I
right?
just love it. It's just,
You like it over
It's old
over the
school.
Michigan one, huh?
yeah,
Huh.
I do.
You don't like the Golden Dome?
I like Mizzou's when they go all black, baby. It's my favorite color.
We-
Just so
yeah.
you know,
Thank
You like Notre
black
Dame's
is my
unis,
favorite
right?
color.
Oh my goodness. Beautiful.
What?
The gold sparkly helmets when the light hits it
Notre
perfectly.
Dame's pretty
Oh,
good.
Notre Dame's badass too. Oh,
I just said that.
Oh yeah.
You're
yeah.
like, no.
No, I was talking about how my
I said
favorite color is black.
Golden Dome.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, then I see the Vegas Golden Knights Golden Dome. I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. But Penn State has some badass unis.
They do.
Oh, TW, you know about Morehouse, don't you? Yeah, baby. What's up? You a hockey player? Obviously. I absolutely hate the tuna segment because I don't find it entertaining listening to an ignorant guy spewing nonsense he doesn't believe, but him and the dais calling out the simp rights holder was quality entertainment yesterday.
Tune in to
Who did we-
KFNS. We're the Missouri apologist station.
We're chirping tuna.
No, because of Wayno or something.
Oh, yeah.
Wayno
We
got
were
like
chirping-
5 seconds
No,
worth of
Tuna
a
said
shout
that
out.
we don't-
That's what that was about, though. That's what this texter was. When I got called out,
Oh,
it
about-
was for Wayno or whatever.
He said that we don't call out anybody. I'm like, we kind of chirp.
We
Wayno.
call out we call out Charlie while he's here. He just doesn't know it. He just doesn't get it that we're kind of we're giving him space so we can laugh.
I know. Oh, I love it. Black is not a color. It's a shade. It's an absence of all color. Who do you think said that?
No idea.
Hockey Bob.
Can we play the Hockey Bob drop?
Oh, did you hear this? Oh, my God. So Hockey Bob the other day was on Slayton's show.
Oh,
Again?
He can't help himself. And
Well, maybe he heard this.
Slayton don't play around. And so Hockey Bob's chirping Slayton about not knowing hockey, not being able to give opinions because he's never been a coach. And
Not
it's-
allowed to have an opinion.
Not allowed
'cause
to
he's
have-
not a coach.
So
I don't have the full audio at the ready, but I can basically play
play the drop.
the two significant drops. So here's the first one. Hockey Bob gave an opinion. Kevin Slayton disagreed with it, and then Hockey Bob said this.
When you become the NHL GM or coach, you can make those decisions, Kevin. But until then, your thoughts on this are moot.
And then, which begged the question.
Do you coach a team that I'm not aware of?
Yeah. I was here the day after that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, I had to play. We had to play it again. It's just we love Hockey Bob, so it's just funny, man.
That was,
Oh man, that is hilarious.
I'm the only person that can weigh in on what it's like to coach a hockey team.
That's right. And
'Cause
you're
again-
a winner.
yeah.
I'm a 1,000% career winning coach, and I'm retired now.
And we were losing by 2.
Hey, I did what I had to do.
I was yelling at guys to get off so I can get out there.
Cam took that investment banker out.
Get out of my way. You've had your time. I know you paid money, although my buddy paid for you to be here, so you didn't even pay money. So, no, get off the ice. Daddy needs to play.
Meanwhile, Barrett Jackman's looking like, what the hell is he doing?
Jack's turned the puck over 15 times. He couldn't say a damn thing.
Uh-oh.
When I got you and my wife watching, I'm putting on a show. No, seriously. That's how it works with me.
Thank you.
Frank doesn't need to bring the slop back. He's got the slop 2.0 when Tuna comes in, and Charlie gets into it with him. Charlie's OPS plus. Thank you for bringing in some food the other day, by the way.
Yes, thank you for the McGriddle.
Yeah, that was quite lovely. Who's a Cubs manager who got mad and called all the fans losers with no jobs because they were always getting drunk at the day games? Fat Tony. Who was that? He called all the fans losers? The Blues skated stride for stride with Colorado all night, held them to one shot through the first 9 minutes. They both had 28 shots on goal, were better in the faceoff circle, and had more block shots. The only capitalized thing the Blues didn't do as good as Colorado is score, but they did not play bad.
Well, that's a minor thing. That's a minor thing. You don't need to score to win games.
And when push came to shove, you turned the puck over in terrible times, and you lost all the momentum.
And the
So
point
that's
is,
part
too,
of it,
you gave up some goals because of bad positioning from your defense.
Yeah, no, because they're way faster.
You're not skating stride for stride when you let a guy have an angle.
Thank you.
And just march into the the goalie right on the doorstep there.
It wasn't horrible. They didn't play horrible, but they weren't. They can't keep up with them.
But
it was obvious.
I'm not saying it as sport to criticize them, as they are a Valley's property. It is early, but they didn't play well last night.
They lost.
Just like I would say if the Cardinals were awful, I would say bad game.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I know you threw money down on it, Hockey Bob. Sorry to hear that.
All right, Cam. Yeah, so that 1.7 million just dropped to 1.6 million.
Yeah, 1.6. Yeah, I don't know how much coin he threw.
All right, Cam. We advanced to 1 for 25 in the power play.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
We're breaking records.
Stride for stride.
So
Exactly.
stride for stride, 4% power play.
Oh God.
If you double that and go to 8%, they're still in last place in the NHL.
Well, hey, man, if you're going to be bad at something, be the worst.
But
Is that Otter? Is that on Otter?
if you're at 42,
Is it?
I believe so.
But let me tell you this: if you're at 42.4%, then you're number one in the league, and that is Cam's New Jersey Devils.
Oh, they're unbelievable. By
There
the
we
way.
go.
Don't say that. Don't say
Jack
Cam's.
Hughes,
What?
baby.
Don't say Cam's.
Yeah.
New Jersey Devils.
I'm more New Jersey than I am St. Louis.
Clip that off forever.
Clip that off. No, clip that off. If you want to, I try to.
We're going to hear that again.
I try to direct you away
I
from
know.
that,
I
and
can't
you're
help
like,
myself. No, I jumped in.
clip that off.
I jumped-
I'd
No.
like to hear that today.
Nah, I'm going to go play in traffic. Be right back.
They drafted me and signed me.
Hey, Cam.
Played there longer.
Don't play. There's cars coming. Nope.
I'm good. This is
I
an
jumped right in.
18-wheeler.
I jumped right in.
Hey, Cam. I think there's an alligator right there in that little pond there. I'm good.
Cam, go over there and hug that bear.
I'm going
See how
to.
that goes.
I'll wrestle around with it. Can we compare the 2023 Cardinals starters to the 2023's Blues defense? Both went into the season knowing they were completely a liability, and they did absolutely nothing to address it. We saw how it turned out for the Cardinals. I see the same trajectory for the Blues. Wombat, listen, the Blues are stuck, man. They got a hard cap. They got guys under contract with no trade clause. Like they can't. They tried to move Kruger. They couldn't do it.
I think
what
that's
can
the
you do?
difference. I think that's the difference between the two is that what we were complaining at the Cardinals about were spend some money and bring some guys
You
in.
can do it.
What you're complaining at the Blues about is there's way too much money here.
You can't trade
And we can't get
anybody.
rid of any of these guys.
I know.
It's like the worst side of the Blues defense is the Anaheim Angels.
Wait,
That's
yeah.
what it is.
But
There
can
you
we
go.
be honest about this, please? And again, I'm a simp and I'm a coward.
I'm glad
But
we got that out
didn't
the way.
Put that off.
To say, but read that again. Like everyone knew that the starting pitching probably wasn't good enough. Was a weak area. But everyone had them winning the Central, didn't they? Like, I know everyone's like tough and cool and everything, but didn't we have everyone? Didn't everyone have them winning the Central? knowing that.
I said
yeah, I
84.
did.
I said
Yeah, I
84.
Okay, like no offense, but everyone's a genius and cheap jokers and say stuff to get. You picked them to win the Central too.
No, I had all my money on the Diamondbacks and the Rangers.
Now, if Charlie were here, he would say, but it's their job to know better. And there's some truth to that, the other side of the coin. But you can't erase where you were before just because it's more fun to be the aggressor and call names. Everyone knew the starting rotation was a weak point, okay? But they didn't think it would disintegrate the way it did early on and put them in a hole. And there was a laundry list of other things that went wrong. All the criticism that they got in this past season is fair. All of it is fair, except for the fact that everyone at least has to admit that they had them winning the Central, as most people did.
They did, but what they would probably say if they were sitting in this room is They thought the Cardinals pitching would be a weak spot. They did not expect it to be an absolute albatross. Did I use
said
that? Did I use that word correctly?
Well, didn't I just
Why
say
you looking
that?
at me?
But didn't I just say that the pitching dissolved?
Yeah.
Like you
and so now
you
the
had Miles Michaelis who arranged his prep so that he'd be ready for the World Baseball Classic, and he never pitched.
That's the priority.
Then you had that's another story. I'm not saying that that's wrong. You had Waino injured out of that. Then you had other guys hurt along the way. Look, Matz has had an injury, history. I get all that. But everyone thought it would be a weak spot. I think the Cardinals thought if we can get through with these guys, we will upgrade along the way. If we need to, we have some other guys we think we could put in the rotation who didn't pan out. But back in the, before it all started, everyone thought it would be good enough to win the Central.
Well, we all said around 90 wins, didn't we?
Yeah,
88,
everyone was
90
around
wins.
that.
I said 84, but I was being a goofball.
I mean,
I said
hindsight is 20/20.
I said
People say that
92.
because it's true, but
we?
that's where I kind of get sideways. Is if you said it was good enough to win the Central, then you knew it wasn't a disaster. So now you can't say it was a disaster. I knew it all along.
Now, I know that we
Am I
said
wrong?
that 'cause
well, is that what people are saying? Is that they knew it all along?
Well,
they're saying the opposite. They're saying, cream of young guy.
of course.
He goes, well, the Central was weak, not much to brag about, and they still lost it. Somebody says, yeah, I put my money on the Brewers, and they won because they had pitching. Jesus, please unplug the Simps mic. I put money on the Brewers to win the division. They have pitching, the Volvo. Who is everyone? We're talking about the Deus. We all thought that they were going to be pretty decent because the Central was weak.
Well, I just want the one person who said they can't win with this pitching staff.
Funny how people only talk about their winning bets on the text line.
Well,
All right,
I want
Well, that's
losing
what I'm
bets.
saying.
Claus,
I'm saying be
looking at
honest.
you, Claus.
I'm saying be honest. Yes, everyone had the Brewer. Look, the Brewers pitching staff ended up getting hurt. I said I didn't pick the Brewers because they had pitching. They didn't have enough hitting. You can go back and listen to the tape. My point is, if everyone knew that the starting rotation was so bad, then why did everyone, including legitimate experts who aren't rights holder cowards like me, why did everyone pick them to win the Central if it was clear that start? That's all I'm saying. Fairness. Be fair about it.
I agree 100. I'm gonna tell you who had money on the Cardinals to win.
His name is Matty.
No, see, but you're too decent of a person. What you're supposed to do is pretend you never said that.
Yeah.
And go, fire everyone. I knew this was coming.
Well,
Every idiot knows it.
I will say that I got a little extra motivation to get upset because I realized that check was never going to cash by May.
That thing, that the starting rotation was a disaster from the beginning. That put them in a hole, and then all other shortcomings came to the surface. Again, the criticism of everything is justified. But let's not forget the fact that most people had them winning the Central. Okay? And as we saw from the playoffs, any team can win it once you're in it. You win the Central, you have a shot to win it all.
That's all, baby.
No?
I mean,
You had the Diamondbacks. You knew them. You knew it.
no,
You
I
bet
didn't.
on them.
No.
You bet on them.
I had.
You had the Rangers. You knew it.
I picked like 4 teams. I said either Rays or O's, and then either Braves or Phillies, and I was 0 for 4.
Here's the thing.
So how do you know?
I do
Why
remember.
did you shake your head like no?
I do that. I
Because
do remember
lately
that
they haven't.
a lot of the sharps though this offseason were saying put coin on the Diamondbacks as the long shot team, not to win it all, just to make the playoffs.
They have a good roster.
I didn't think it was going to be they were going to be playing in November.
But
hey,
But I can tell you there was a Cole in Arizona radio when they were going
the Cole of Arizona radio.
when they went
You guys
7
should hang out.
when they went
Yeah.
when they went 7 and 28, whatever that stretch was, right? Going cheap chokers. I knew they were terrible. I guarantee.
Wait a minute, who is the Cole of Arizona? He's a Padres fan. No, he's a Rockies fan.
After I start to hang out with Plowsy, then I can move on to other
man.
regions.
Oh, is there like a meeting? Does everybody go hang out with like their level of St. Louis radio?
I think so.
Oh,
What,
man.
what was the stretch that the Diamondbacks had this year? I think it was like 7 and 28.
I don't know.
Like June into July, something like.
I have
There was an awful stretch where everyone, and I'm sure, was like, "This is a terrible team. I knew it." And now they're like, "No, I knew they were good."
I don't think I have ever used the words cheap and chokers.
No, that was somebody
back to back on the show. I think you're just
No, I'm just playing because
Yeah.
that's
That was up.
okay.
Actually,
We can play that drop.
No one ever said cheap choker together. I'm the one that
Yeah.
melded
Together.
the two and made it something we say on this show.
Yeah.
Because I find it hilarious.
Yeah.